hodgepodge of races and religions, but it was never a big deal for us. We just got along because we were compatible. When we all got to know each other, we were still very young, we were kids. And looking for the differences among people was the last thing in our mind. For us, all we wanted was a friend. But as you get older and you read the newspapers and talk to people, you realize that people have a way of making a big deal out of differences. And I'm not saying that racial and religious and ethnic differences are something that should be cast aside. It's not something that we can ignore, but it's something that we should celebrate, but not use it as a paralyzing factor. When I was in primary school, I was actually, I tried to hide the fact that I was Indian because I was a minority, and I tried to hide the fact that I could speak the Tamil language. I didn't want people to know. I preferred to blend in, you know. And then as I got older, I started asking myself, why am I so ashamed of who I am, what my heritage is? So I got over it. Now I'm very proud of who I am, and I would in no way want to hide it. Growing up in Malaysia, seeing that there's so much diversity here, the issue of diversity is something that has always drawn me. My dream Malaysia would be a place where nobody would feel afraid to bring up issues that are actually affecting the country. Where you could definitely feel that as long as you're Malaysian, that this country is a safe space for you.
Life is a challenge, not a choice. So if life is a challenge, not a choice, everything is a new adventure, everything is something you can learn from, and every experience, every exposure, every new situation, every new country, every new environment.
He's not as outspoken or as loud, you know, or as academically high achieving, but he's solid. He's rock solid. He's actually, in a way, a lot of ways, the backbone of this organization.
What really drove me to everything was maybe the fact that when you're doing what you're doing, you enjoy doing what you're doing, you just fall in love with your work, and as you fall in love, you want to do it more and more.
In 2003, we came back to Malaysia. Obviously, when the director or the main person leaves, you know, things are going to be jammed, and so this 19-year-old boy with something like we had almost 2,000 boarding students, 3,000-4,000 all over the country. He's at the center of it all. He runs the show, trains. We had about 200 over volunteers, and he just coordinates everything. A young boy who's supposed to be either chasing girls or clubbing, but he's actually dedicating his whole life, and he loves it, and it's not like you're forced to do it.
Maybe the part where I seeing people happy and grateful for the service that you have provided to them, that gives you a kind of a ticklish feeling inside where you feel so happy you've made a difference in someone's life. Maybe that was what inspired me to carry on. Try to make a difference in the lives of others.
All my whole teenage fun has been ripped off because of this little thing, because trust me, balding can rip your confidence off. Totally. After my music class, I used to go and sit at the back where they all practice dance. So I used to sit beside my teacher. I said, do you mind? I just want to sit and watch. She said, go ahead. And after about a few months, she asked, why don't you dance? I was like, me? Dancing? Look at these people. They all have this long, thick, you know, Indians. It's a crime if you don't have a hair. They always have this graduation period for dancers. So I never thought I would do that, because in order to do that, you need to really groom well. You need to have the braids done on your head, and what am I going to do with this? The day came, she personally, normally there are a lot of helpers to groom the girls, but she said, let me do her. So she took me to her room and she just transformed me, you know. That was the most memorable day in my life. So when I see fellow women who have thinning hair or balding, I wish I can tell them, you know, it's not really all that bad. You know, I know how you feel. I totally know how you feel. I want to be my teacher right now. I want to play a role like my teacher. If you give me a choice, I want to pick up any girls who look down on the floor. You know why people look down? They go, no, I dare not look at you. If I were before, I dare not look at your face and talk, because I know you're looking at my hair. I like to pick up these girls from the street and tell them, you know, this is me, you, 10 years ago. This is me. My hair has not grown, you know. My hair still drops. I'm still bald here, if you can see. But you know what's the difference between then and now? I have this mountain full of confidence that nothing will break them.
When I was in primary school and in high school, my talents were not realized. It was not because I wasn't seeking opportunities. It was because opportunities were blocked from me. They just wouldn't care of giving me an opportunity, thinking that I'm weak in sports, I should be weak in everything. So I had to fake my abilities. I used to watch a lot of speeches. In a vague definition of what I understand of faking it for my term, is actually faking my ability to talk. But now here comes the second part. As I started to emulate all these icons, all these role models, reading on countless books, I began to develop my own traits and characteristics to make it. Now, when I was faking my ability to do public speaking and in terms of taking up leadership roles, I've gone through a lot of hard work, asking people how did they manage their groups, asking business people how did they actually run a business. I believe no one starts off as a good leader. So that was the same case with me. So I had to fake my abilities by emulating, adapting, and learning from others, from sources, and then working hard, putting in efforts, and with an objective in mind to making it happen. So you have impacted their lives. Now, the dream Malaysia that I would see would be a well-developed country. A country where infrastructures are well-developed, facilities are available, and people from all different races are supporting each other, in which 3 races could collectively bring up the country through any contributions that would make a collective success.